Good Wednesday evening, South Carolina Weather Watchers. I am your meteorologist, Jess Peterson. Let's go and talk about the weather for your Wednesday evening going into your future. We have some stuff that we are going to be talking about tonight, but first, before we go in and get into that, if you have not hit the like button yet, go in and do so. We are right now at 5 people watching and only 4 likes, so we can go in and get another like or two up there. Also, if you have not hit the subscribe button yet, go and do so. We're at 627, I believe so. 627, trying to get to 700. We are 73 away from that main goal of 700, and we are right now 23 away from 650. So we're going to be looking for that as well. Also, share with all the people that you know. Share with your friends, family members. Share it with somebody that you met at your local Kroger today. It doesn't matter, just anybody. They can go on and send it to you. I don't even know if there's any Krogers down here, but just made that up. Let's go on though and talk about what are we going to talk about tonight. Well, what we are going to talk about tonight for sure is we will talk about the current condition, what's currently going on throughout the state of South Carolina. That, and we also will continue to talk about what's going to happen for tonight, what's going to happen in terms of this flood threat that's on the way. And then we also will talk about what's going to happen with our future in terms of our short term, our long term, what's going to happen temperature wise, cold temperatures here, and it's going to warm up a little bit as well. And then for the most part, it's just going to be back and forth, stable to active, stable to active. Also, you see we have a green screen today. The green starting soon. Start screen, meaning that we have a marginal risk of either excessive rainfall or severe weather. But first, before we get into that, let's go on and talk about what's currently going on. And right now, it's nice and dry. Nice and dry throughout the entire state of South Carolina. That is not anything that was not expected. What about the entire United States? Rainfall going on over here inside of Texas, going on inside Louisiana, also on the northern side of Texas, Arizona, New Mexico. Snowfall going on also on the northern side from Kansas to Colorado to New Mexico. Snowfall also potentially going on in these areas over here, even though it's relatively on the lighter side. It might not really be reaching the ground too much, but it's there. And snowfall up here in like the northern parts and here in Canada and in New York. But for the most part, I mean, look at the west. West is nice and dry. The north is nice and dry. Southeast, nice and dry. Mid-Atlantic, even looking a bit dry, maybe except for parts of like Pennsylvania on the northeastern side. But other than that, just looks relatively dry. Now, what about our cloud cover for right now? Cloud cover, the state is mostly covered with clouds, but there definitely are some clear areas. Even if we go into our cloud cover for the future, you go in and push this forward. As you get into around the 12-hour mark of today, of tonight, going into tomorrow morning, this is cloud cover is going to be still going to be cloudy, but there's definitely going to be a lot more clear areas. And so even as you go throughout the day tomorrow, look at this cloud cover build its way right back up as we get into around tomorrow night, 4 hour Thursday night. Then as you go into Friday morning, still cloudy going into Friday evening, Friday night, still cloudy. So we stay cloudy all the way through Friday night. Now, in terms of current temperatures, 46 in Columbia as well as 45 in Orangeburg, 45 in Sumter, and even 41 in Hartsville, 42 in Bennettsville, and even around 42 in Florence, 43 Conway, and 47 in Myrtle Beach, 48 in Murray's Inlet, as well as 46 in Georgetown, 46 in North Myrtle Beach, and even around 49 inside of Charleston, 48, 49, 45 in Somerville and Orangeburg, as well as 46 in Aiken, 41 over here in Newbury, even around 40 in Lawrence, 40 in Greenville and Spartanburg, and even 39 in Gaffney, 39 in York, Rock Hill, and 42 in Clemson. Now for your low temperatures for tonight, you have around 30 in Rock Hill, 30 Spartanburg, and even around 31 in Greenville, 32 in Anderson, and 31 in Greenwood, 34 in Aiken, and 33 in Barnwell and Walterboro, 35 in Moncks Corner, and 30 in Kingstree, 29 in Camden and Sumter, and even Dillon, 27 in Cheraw, 37 also inside of Myrtle Beach, 34 inside of Georgetown, even 40 down there near Charleston. Now for your high temperatures for tomorrow, going to be around 52 in Greenville, 51 Spartanburg, and even around 41 or 51 inside of Rock Hill, 56 in Shawnee, 56 in Dillon, 56 in Florence, and 57 also inside of Sumter, 58 in Orangeburg, and 56 in Barnwell, 59 in Walterboro, and 57 in Moncks Corner, 60 in Charleston, even 61 in Hilton Head Island, 53 in Greenwood and Newbern, even around 52 in Anderson. Now for your rainfall for tonight stays on the non side, meaning that no rainfall is expected as we go throughout the next 24 hours. So we are good in terms of rainfall as we go into the next 24 hours or so. Crazy score. What is the crazy score? Well, the crazy score is the score that we see how crazy the weather is inside of South Carolina. Right now we're at a 36. Why? Well, number one, it's going to be cold. Lows 27 degrees tonight is possibly even less if there's a bit of a wind to it. And so it's going to be potentially some widespread freezing or locally widespread freezing throughout some areas. And so that will occur. And even near the coastal areas as well. We saw it's going to get down to 40. Everyone else that's not near the coastal region, you're either going to be in the 30s or 20s. And so even if we go into frost as well, some areas will see frost as well, especially after around 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning. And fog is also a possibility. Patchy fog possible with the recent rain, with the calm winds, the wet ground for some areas. That will equal patchy fog late into the night, mainly in the Piedmont area, and then also inside the coastal plain area, but it's around 1 to 3 miles or so. And so for the most part, that's what we're looking at in terms of the crazy score. That's why we're all the way up at a 36, and so that puts inside of noticeable weather conditions. SPC outlook for tonight. This is the one right here for Wednesday. We stay nice and thunderstorm-less inside of tonight, and even as we go into tomorrow, as well as we go into tomorrow for Thursday, we again stay thunderstormless. But unfortunately, on Friday comes along, and we have some thunderstorm activity that's possible in the southern Midlands as well as inside the low country. Now, it's if the convection gets going, the ingredients are there, but if the convection gets going, it will for sure happen. Now, we just have to look and see at the models, and we'll go in and look at that, especially as we go into like tonight, going into tomorrow as well. We'll look at that model guidance there. Excessive rainfall, and here goes our marginal risk right here. We've been looking at this marginal risk, and it disappeared yesterday. Yesterday it was no longer on the map, but they added it back. This right here is for Friday. Isolated flash flooding possible for Aiken, going down into North to Orangeburg, to Bowman, to Branchville, also to Barnwell, to Allendale, to Hampton, to Still. All these areas have the chance for some isolated flash flooding. Now that is for Friday. Saturday, we do have another risk on Saturday. Isolated flash flooding for Seabrook Island, going inside of Edisto Beach, going inside of Gillisonville, Ridgeland, Beaufort, Port Royal, Bluffton, Hilton Head Island. All these areas have the chance for some isolated flash flooding. Day 5, no, nothing here for day 5. Nothing here for day 5 at all. So we're good just Friday and Saturday. So let's go on now and look at the models. Make sure that you want to pay attention to the time in the top right corner of your screen. That's where the time will be at. And that's going to be pretty important to look at as we track all the way through, not just the short term, but also the long term as well. And so we're going to start off here at 9 o'clock p.m. as we always do. You go in and push this forward. We stay dry all the way through until we get into around 4 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the morning on December the 4th. This is tomorrow, and actually the craziest part is that this model run right here shows rainfall coming to the state. This definitely would be accumulating something, but if you go in and look at their actual forecast, look at this. No precipitation amount. Now, even if I go and take this off, this is Wednesday 7 p.m. through Thursday at 7 p.m., so this is for sure today. That they put that December the 3rd, yep. So, I'm not quite sure why they have it like this. Even if you go into the one for tomorrow for Thursday 7 a.m. to Friday at 7 a.m., that one shows some precipitation and some accumulation, but for this one right here, it shows nothing. And so maybe it was just a model thing, but we're going to look at this one. We'll also look at the NAM to see if they're, maybe just a one model run thing. But again, like I said, we continue all the way through to 10 o'clock in the morning. We're still not seeing any sort of rainfall. It's nice and dry here. Even as you go into around 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. to 2 p.m., rainfall moves its way throughout like the eastern part of the state, the central and eastern part of the state. Even as you get into around 4 o'clock p.m., going into around 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock, rainfall is still ongoing. Now, once you get to 7, that's when the time period ends. But it definitely shows some rainfall as we go all the way through even to 5 o'clock p.m. So rainfall definitely is possible tomorrow. And I think honestly it could be possible, as early as 12 to 1 to 2 p.m. for some areas. But you continue that forward even more to 6 o'clock through past to 9 o'clock. Rainfall going on throughout a good amount of the state. And then especially as you get into 12 a.m., we're going to see a lot of rainfall like we did the last night, which was Monday night going into Tuesday morning. When we had all of that rainfall move throughout the entire state during the nighttime hours, this could potentially be the same thing, but a bit earlier and more situated inside the upstate. And look at it continues to move at 4 o'clock in the morning. This pretty much is almost not an exact copy, but pretty much would play out how the last system played out, how it rained from the majority during the nighttime, and then by 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, it's still potentially raining a little bit. Even as you go into 10 o'clock in the morning, rainfall still shows itself through that time frame, and then it won't leave by around 5 to 6 to 7 p.m. It will continue to stay there, even as late as potentially 8 p.m. on Friday. And so that will be potentially something that we're going to have to look at for as well. And also look at this isolated downpour activity. That's where our thunderstorm threat could potentially happen, as the ingredients are there, especially inside the low country and the southern Midlands. That's something to definitely watch for as well. But just a lot of rainfall for the most part as we move throughout the next 48 hours or so. Now, how much does this run have in terms of precipitation? For the most part, most of us stay inside of that half an inch to potentially inch range. Half an inch to an inch. Maybe a little bit more, but around half an inch to an inch. The green areas, that's more of the like 3/10 of an inch to a half an inch, so not much. But really, it's one model run, things will change. But it looks like for the most part, most people half an inch to around an inch, maybe more. We even go back to the 23Z here. You go all the way to 12 p.m. You can see that the 23Z, which was updated around an hour ago, you see that this one has no precipitation occurring either. Look at the huge difference that we have. If we go to the 23Z real quick, look at the huge difference from this run to this run. It doesn't seem like too much, but it definitely shows that there's been a shift to show no precipitation up here inside the upstate, and then we go to the one that was updated at 9 o'clock, and it shows some precipitation in the upstate. So that's what I'm saying. These models, they just jump back and forth, so that's why it's always a good idea to go in and keep an eye on them, because they can change back and forth. That'll change the update, that'll change the forecast pretty much almost every hour at that point. But right now, it's still up in the air right now. Even as close as we are, we're just going to have to wait for stuff to become a little bit more consistent. But it looks like definitely rainfall could potentially happen as early as 12 p.m. And so that might be one of the reasons why they didn't put it out. They didn't put any precipitation to be really expected as you go throughout tomorrow afternoon. That's just because they just weren't really too confident. The National Weather Service, by them. But that's enough about that. What about the long-term future? Long-term future, that rainfall moves in all the way through the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, going inside of the 8th as well. And so it brings a lot of rainfall throughout these areas. And so I was just talking about, when we were talking about the short term, that we had a lot of precipitation that didn't just move out like the one did on Monday night going into Tuesday. That one just moved out of here, was quick moving, kind of. It was just a lot of rainfall. This one seems to stay, and just look at how long it stays over, especially the low country, especially over the coastal areas. That could potentially be something that obviously we have that isolated flash flood risk for. And so That pushed its way out. We stay clear all the way through the 10th, all the way through the 11th, the 12th, the 13th, the 14th for the most part. And then some more rainfall potentially on the 16th and the 17th. But, I mean, that's 300 to 400 hours out, so things are too far there to really talk about right now. And that's pretty much all in terms of the convection part. What about cold fronts? Obviously, because cold fronts will still be occurring. Even as we go into the actual shaded region. You want to push this forward, you can see all this cold air moving through, especially like into like December the 9th here, cold, freezing temperatures ongoing there. And so we can go into the dew points to look at the actual cold fronts themselves, as I believe that was temperatures I'm looking at. These are dew points right here, and you can see just how easily this dry cold air could potentially move throughout the state through the 9th, going inside of the 11th, going inside of maybe even going inside of the 16th as well. So just you go from stable atmosphere to a active atmosphere, and you just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, all the way through. And then the temperatures obviously fluctuate with it as well. And so you'll see kind of normal, and then you'll see freezing. And so it's just going to take that jump as we just continue throughout all the way throughout mid-December. But that's all in terms of the long-term future. That was a lot. So, we're just going to go ahead and wrap it up there. But there's one more thing that I want to do before we go in and talk with the audience. I know we said we were done with the tropical season, but I do want to do a tropical storm, or just a tropical season recap, pretty much, as we go throughout like the end of 2025, obviously. And so if we go in and look at this is 2022. That is not 2025. But here it is right here. So we go all the way through. This was the storms that we had right here. This was for 13 named storms that we had. And so obviously we start off with Andre. Andre didn't really do too much. It was during the June timeframe before July. Andre just came in, kind of just was there for a little bit, and then kind of just fizzled out. Then you had Barry. Barry was also just another tropical storm that occurred. That's the storm right there that brought all that rainfall, all that flooding to Texas, especially inside of Central Texas, where they had had all those emergencies happen during like the end of June. Then Chantal happened, July. That was July the 4th. That is when we had when Chantal made landfall inside of South Carolina. It was a surprise storm that came through all the way on that July the 4th, into like July the 5th-ish. And we had rainfall, we had gusty winds move through. Dexter happened, and then we had Aaron. Aaron was that storm that occurred in the Atlantic. We thought that it potentially would hit South Carolina, but it ended up not. And so it just continued its way through. Fernand happened, not too much happened with that. That was a tropical storm. Also, Aaron was a Category 5. Gabrielle was next. We also thought that Gabrielle could potentially go towards South Carolina as well, but that one didn't either. Stayed a Category 4, stayed out to sea for the most part. Humberto happened as a Category 5. Imelda happened as a Category 2, and then you had Jerry, Karen, and then that one. And then Lorenzo as well, all three of them, tropical storms, not really did much. And then we had Melissa being the last one as you went into the end part of October, going into November. That one, Melissa lasted for a long time, all the way through from October the 15th, or like all the way from like the mid part of the month, all the way to where it's like the end part of the month. And so that was a long-lasting storm, hurricane that happened. And so after that, we kind of just stopped. I believe Nestor would have been the next name, if I'm not mistaken. But we ended up, not really receiving the brunt force of anything, as we only had one landfall throughout the entire U.S., and it was a tropical storm, and it was Chantal when it came and hit us. That was the only tropical storm or any storm in general that did anything. This was the first hurricane season since 2015 where no hurricane hit the U.S. coast. Again, the first season since 2015 that no hurricane hit the U.S. coast. at all. So let's go and give a round of applause for that. So that's fantastic to hear from that. And so I just want to go and do that little recap real quick as it was the end, and I said I would be doing that today. And that is all that I have here in terms of the tropics. So let's go ahead and talk with the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say for tonight. Starting off, my Aunt Lulu was here first tonight. She says, quote, if I can find my audience tab. That is not the audience tab. This is the audience tab. Good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. I pray that you all had a wonderful day. Well, I did. Thank you so much for that. Mr. Chris says, good evening, everyone. Hope you all are doing well. I'm doing well. Thank you so much for asking. He also says, please remember to go on and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button to the channel. Also share with everyone that you know. He's absolutely correct. We right now have 14 people watching and only 8 likes. If you are a part of that 6, then I'm not hit the like button yet. Go on and do so. It's free. You can change your mind at any time. Trail comes in and says, greetings everyone. It's cold here. Same thing at my house. It's right now, current temperatures right now inside of around 46. That's what my old weather station says. And Mr. Chris says the same thing. Currently 46 here at Moncks Corner. Really didn't get that warm. My Aunt Lulu says today in Georgetown was sunny but chilly. Thank you so much for that weather update for where you are. And then Mr. Chris says was pretty much cloudy all day. Well, thank you so much for that as well. Let me see, what else do we have? My Aunt Lulu says I need to work in my garden, but it was too cold. Well, I get that. I don't like the cold air either. So I completely understand that. My cousin Cheryl comes in and says, good evening, weatherman. Good. Hope all is well. Good evening, everyone. It's kind of chilly in Philadelphia, but weatherman, do your thing and tell us the weather, which you are so good at. Love you. Be blessed. Thank you so much for that comment. And thank you so much for that weather report up there in Philadelphia. Thad says, good evening, Joseph and friends. I trust all is well with everyone. It was a relatively mild day today, but thankful nonetheless. Well, we were kind of expecting that. We were expecting the other areas of, Raleigh, Philadelphia, Duncan to get some potential winter weather. And then San Antonio was just going to be there and just be kind of on the more drier side, not too much happening. But we'll talk about that. And then that's it here inside of the chat for tonight. If you want to go in and leave something inside the chat, you can. You just have to be a subscriber. And speaking of, we were just talking about San Antonio, as we're going to go on and talk about these 4 locations outside of South Carolina. You might be asking, 4 locations, what are you talking about? Well, every night, not only do we do the South Carolina forecast, but we also do 4 other locations, being San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as well as Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we talk about these locations is because we have people from these areas who tune in almost nightly, and even though South Carolina is even though their location is not the main topic, we still go on, and they still support anyway, so we're going to go on and give them their forecast as well. And so starting off with San Antonio first, low temperatures tonight at 54, high temperatures tomorrow at 56, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 45. There is a slight chance of rainfall. Again, nothing like wintry like the other areas will receive, but slight chance of showers tonight, chance of showers tomorrow and tomorrow night. Now, it's just a chance, obviously, not 100% guaranteed, but the possibility for sure is there. And so, obviously with that, there also comes a chance, potentially, for maybe some excessive rainfall to happen, maybe for some severe weather to happen. But I will say for San Antonio, you're good in terms of severe weather, excessive rainfall. You are good there as well. Then for our next area that we talk about outside of South Carolina, that being Raleigh, North Carolina. And so over here for Raleigh, low temperatures tonight at 31, high temperatures tomorrow at 53, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 32. No precipitation is expected tonight or tomorrow, but tomorrow night there's a chance of rain/snow tomorrow night. So make sure that you're watching out for that. No severe weather for you, and then in terms of excessive rainfall, no excessive rainfall for you either. Then the next area being Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, with low temperatures tonight at 29, high temperatures tomorrow at 40, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 19. Yes, you are reading that correctly. That does say 19 degrees, and that is just because, obviously, with all the cold air that's going to occur near you. Now, with that, there does come that chance for some winter weather as well, but that's not yet. We're gonna have to wait a little bit on that. But for right now, it just looks like no precipitation is expected for you for right now. And in terms of severe weather, excessive rainfall, none for you either. And then finally for Duncan, Oklahoma, low temperatures tonight at 33, high temperatures tomorrow at 39, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 24. Slight chance of a wintry mix tonight, and then there will be a chance of another wintry mix between snow and sleet and freezing rain, all that kind of stuff, all the way through tomorrow morning, and then tomorrow night, nothing else. You'll be, for the most part, dry after that. In terms of excessive rainfall, severe weather, none for you either. Now, what's going on in terms of the entire U.S. weather news-wise? An Arctic cold front will move through the Great Lakes in the Northeast on Thursday, bringing moderate to heavy snowfall, strong winds, and possibly whiteout conditions through Thursday afternoon. A storm system interacting with the Gulf moisture will bring moderate to heavy rainfall to the western and central Gulf Coast on Thursday. Isolated instances of flash flooding will be possible, all the way from Texas towards Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, and South Carolina. So, a lot of stuff right now going on. Severe weather for the most part, though. I mean, there's only like one little threat, and it's like down there near like the Houston area or Galveston area, and that's for tonight. And it's just a little hail threat, but after that, that's it. And that's all that I have for the weather for tonight. If you did enjoy, make sure you go on and hit that like button. Also hit the subscribe button as well. If you are new, only if you're new. If you've already hit the subscribe button before, please do not hit it again, or else you will unsubscribe. And also share with all the people that you know, friends, family members, acquaintances. Send it to people you don't even like. People you don't even like. Go on and send it to them so you can at least do one more nice thing for them. And so go on and send it. And then, obviously, we'll be back tomorrow morning. For your Thursday morning forecast update, and also tomorrow evening for your Thursday evening, 9 o'clock p.m., same time. We will be talking about the drought monitor. That's going to be another huge thing to talk about, especially with all this precipitation we got. And then also, I think they actually updated tomorrow morning, so I don't think it will get the rainfall off for Thursday as well. But with all the rainfall we just got, and all the droughts that are going on throughout the state right now, it's going to be kind of interesting to see what we have there. And so we'll talk about all that tomorrow night. In terms of top fans of the night tonight, Mr. Chris was at number 1. My Aunt Lula's at number 2. And then if I'm not mistaken, I believe that Trail was number 3. So congratulations to the 3 of y'all for being the top 3 fans of the night tonight. If you want to be a top fan, you can by going on and being a subscriber of the channel. And also, being active inside the chat and being here early. And that's all. So everyone have a fantastic rest of your Wednesday. Make sure that you tune back in tomorrow for your Thursday. And we're halfway through the week. Just got Thursday and Friday left to go. Make sure you hit those 2 buttons before you leave.
Then 2x plus